Hi, everybody. I am so glad that you could join us today for Virtual Moon School. I really miss seeing all of y'all at the public rituals, and I hope that you and your families are all safe and well. We haven't been able to get together in person to do Moon School for a while, so I thought maybe we could give this a try. Okay, let's get started. Lammas is one of the 8 Sabbats we celebrate in the Wiccan Wheel of the Year. It comes after midsummer and before Mabon. Now, there are many different ways that people celebrate Lammas. Some Wiccans celebrate this Sabbath by focusing on honoring a goddess that is connected to the grain or to the harvest, like the Greek goddess Demeter or the Roman goddess Ceres. Some Wiccans focus their Lammas Sabbath on the Celtic god Lu. And others in our faith focus on the celebration of the harvest as a whole. Now, many pagans will embrace and celebrate a mix of these aspects or all of these aspects of the first harvest. Cross-quarter days like Lammas mark the very beginning of the coming season. Lammas comes right between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. So like Samhain and Imbolc and Beltane, it's kind of an in-between time of the year. We're right on the edge of 2 seasons. Fall is just starting to peek its head out to greet us. And here in Texas especially, August doesn't feel much like fall. We have our hottest days of the year in August. There's tons of bright sunshine. But if you look really closely, you can see the signs that autumn is on its way. As the earth is starting to tilt away from the sun, the days are beginning to grow shorter and the nights are beginning to grow longer. The grass is not growing as fast, and the biggest sign is that the first grains of the year are being harvested. Grains would be seeds of grasses such as wheat, oats, rice, corn, rye, and barley. They're all being harvested and then they're being processed to be ready for us to eat or to be made into other foods that we eat. Now, all around the world, people eat many, many different types of grains. But on average, most humans get about 40% of their calories from grain-based foods. Lammas is the start of the harvest season. It's the first of 3 harvest-based Sabbats. The next 2 Sabbats, Mabon and Samhain, complete the harvest cycle. Lammas is a time when we really change the direction of our focus. So we move from helping things to grow to harvesting the things that were planted in the early spring and then cared for through the summer, because they're now ready to be picked or harvested. Lammas is also a time for giving thanks. The bounty of the current harvest that's being gathered in and the food that it will provide us is a wonderful thing to give thanks for. But we also have the seeds that will be gathered from this harvest. Those seeds will be kept safe until spring, and then they'll be planted and tended again to grow into next year's harvest. The first harvest is a good reminder that this cycle repeats itself time and time again. Everything is part of the spiral of life, of this pattern of death and rebirth, and we know that all that dies shall be reborn. We have to help the cycle, though, by continuing to ensure that we save enough seeds from this year's harvest to replant for next year. And we also have to make sure that we leave enough nutrients in the earth for next year's harvest to be able to grow. Have you ever seen a doll that was made out of sheaves of wheat or corn husks before? The ones here in this picture, my daughter and I made, but people have been making dolls like this for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Many people would take the husks from the corn of the first harvest and make a doll out of them. They thought that this provided a home for the spirit of the harvest to live in until the next growing season. These dolls were a really important part of their Lammas celebrations. And after the celebrations were over, they would keep them in a special place in their homes, often near the hearth, or what we would think of as like almost a fireplace. And here they would stay safe and warm all through the fall and winter. Then when the wheel turned back to spring again, at the very start of the next planting season, when the field was ready for the seeds, they would burn the doll and then sprinkle its ashes all over the ground. They believed that that let the spirit of the harvest return to the earth where it could help the new seeds to grow. Lammas is also known as the celebration of bread. Long ago, Celtic people considered the idea of harvesting your grain any time before Lammas to be a really bad idea because it would show others that the previous year's harvest had run out early. Just like today, grains made up a big part of the foods that our ancestors ate all around the world. So the ripening of the grain was a cause for really big celebration. The many steps of the harvest, the reaping, the threshing, and the preparation of these breads created great rituals, feasting, and ceremonies that focused on both the rewards of the harvest and ensuring a healthy bounty for the following year. But making bread was quite a bit of work back then. Early people, they had to cut down the stalks of grain by hand with a sickle and then tie them into bundles. Next, they had to thresh it or separate the seeds of the crops like wheat, corn, or dry beans from the plant. Then they had to winnow it, which meant to remove all the unwanted seed coats and the other parts of the grain by blowing the unwanted parts away. After all that, they had to pound the grain to a really fine texture to make flour. And finally, after all this work, they could bake the first loaves of bread from the grain of the harvest. And this was a very special ritual. Lammas bread would often have sprouted wheat added to the tops of the loaves to express the idea of dying and then resurrection of the god of the grain. Wheat is still a very important food staple all around the world. Wheat gives us the flour that we need not just to make bread, but also think of all the other things you eat that are made with flour. Pasta and bagels and pizza crust and cupcakes and cookies and pretzels and so many things. Lammas is also a time to stop and assess where we are in our personal growth. Many pagans plant seeds of intention or put energy into ideas and goals that they want to grow in their lives at Imbolc and Ostara. The first harvest is a really good time for us to check and see how much growth we've made on these goals. Think about all the things you've planted and cared for inside your heart and your life this year. Have you focused your energy and attention at getting better at a skill like singing or reading? Have you worked to grow an emotional skill like patience or kindness? Maybe you focused on growing physically stronger this year. How have you grown so far? Which of your seeds of intention are ready to be harvested? It's really important to take time and celebrate this hard work. It's important to honor growth in yourself and in your life. Now, not every seed or plant will grow at the same rate, will it? Some things take longer to grow. Are there seeds of intention that you planted that aren't ready for harvest yet? If so, do they just need more time? Or do they need a different kind of care to grow? Are they things that need to be watered with practice and energy? How do you want to care for these seeds between now and Samhain to help them grow? Wicca is a beautiful and diverse religion, and within our faith, different people connect to different things. A lot of the things that you see here are things that people will associate with Lammas, but it is by no means a complete list. One of the most amazing things about our faith is that everyone who practices it has their own personal connections to form and their own path to walk. I encourage you all to talk to your families and see what other things are connected to the first harvest in your tradition. Also, take some time and think about things that you connect to at this special time of year. Now, even though we're not able to celebrate Lammas together this year, there are so many fun ways you can celebrate Lammas at home with your family. Here I put together 5 ideas to share with you guys, one for each of the elements, and you are welcome to use these to help you connect to this Sabbath at home. But I also encourage you to create your own traditions with your family to honor this turn in the wheel of the year. So, for air, one thing you can do is express your creativity. The god Lu is not just a harvest god, he's also a god of crafts and of craftsmen. You can, with the help of an adult, you can try to bake some fresh bread or maybe make some jam or jelly out of your favorite first harvest fruits and your favorite summer fruits that need to be picked and used. You can try making a corn husk doll, like the one that my daughter and I made that you saw in the picture. You could even take the corn husks and just weave them into some cool symbols as well. So for fire, you can light some Lammas candles. Now this part's really important, with the help of an adult. I want you to say that part with me. With the help of an adult. You can light Lammas candles and fill your home with the warmth and the thankful spirit of the harvest. To connect with water, there's all kinds of fun things you can do. You can maybe go swimming, or you can play in the water while you're caring for your plants at your home or in your community garden. For earth, you can collect seeds. You can dry those seeds in the sun and save them in a special place so that when spring turns around again in the wheel, you can take an active part in this cycle of rebirth. You can plant them and care for them. And finally, the idea I have on here for spirit is you can create a Lammas altar. Now, this is something you can do together with your families, or you could make your own Lammas altar for your own room. You can include Lammas colors and first harvest grains and fruits, all the Lammas crafts that you and your family make. You could even share the bread that you make if you made bread with your family as a feast at your Lammas altar. I cannot wait to hear about all the fun ways that you each celebrate Lammas this year. I know you guys are going to come up with some really amazing traditions. As the wheel of the year continues to turn over the following months, I hope you all take time to really appreciate the beauty of the changing seasons and observe Mother Nature in all of her glory. One thing you might even want to try is to start your own Wheel of the Year diary to help you remember all the things that you notice. You can write down when you see the first leaves falling, or when you notice the leaves starting to change colors, when you see the first seeds off the ground, maybe an acorn, or my favorite ones are the sycamore seeds, the ones that you can spin like a helicopter. You can note the changes you see in the weather and the plants around you as well. So this presentation was created by me, Guinevere Penn. The artwork that you see in the video is a combination of things that I personally created in either Illustrator or Google Docs, as well as artwork that I purchased from Kate Hadfield Designs on Teachers Pay Teachers. In addition to this video, I have 2 printable MoonSchool resources for Lammas that are available for download for you guys. The first one is a children's packet. It offers a written resource of reference to many of the things that we talked about here in the virtual class, as well as a word search, some fun images to color, and areas for them to make notes about their seeds of intention. The second packet is one that is for parents with young children. It also offers a written reference to the things we talked about here in the video, but it includes some ideas specifically geared at helping younger preschool age children connect with the first harvest and the change of the seasons. For you, those of you who have joined us for MoonSchool in the past, please know that I miss seeing each and every one of you and your families. Know that as soon as it is safe to do so, we will be starting our in-person MoonSchools again. For those of you watching that maybe haven't had a chance to come out and join us for MoonSchool at the public rituals before, we hope that you can come and share in some fun and fellowship with us at our next MoonSchool. I lead the MoonSchool classes at all of our public rituals with the exception of Samhain when we have our amazing children's carnival. You can find out more details on the Texas Local Council of the Covenant of the Goddess website, and you're always welcome to reach out to me personally with any questions you might have. Please know that we are thinking about all of you and wishing you and your families good health during this hard time. Remember that you have the support of a large extended family here that cares about you. I will be creating resources like this for you guys and your families to enjoy at home for every Sabbath until it's safe for us to meet again. Thank you again so much for joining us for Virtual MoonSchool today, and merry meet again.